Hey everybody, it's an awesome, awesome night for horror and for bloodiness and for movies. Yeah! It's Halloween, and I don't know if you're like me, but I love my horror during Halloween. We have an awesome, awesome, awesome show for you tonight. We not only have one person to talk about a kick-ass Halloween movie, but we got two! Oh yeah, it's a double hitter. And wait, you forgot to know who I am. I'm Tiffani-Beth, your favorite Wicked Wild Child. And you're listening to The Wicked Edge. Like I said, we have an awesome, awesome show for you tonight. We have two horror movies, and not only that, but one of our guests was on the show Family Ties. Oh yeah. So I'm so excited to get to our guest tonight. And excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. My throat feels like it's on fire, so if I go in and out, I'm so sorry. I think it just adds to the ambiance. I really do. But before we get to our awesome, awesome guests, Tracy and Sean, I just have to give a shout out to two sponsors. First, Rolling Hills Asylum. If you were into the paranormal and if you were into history, Rolling Hills Asylum is your place to go. It is 10 minutes from two major airports, and yet it's still in the middle of nowhere. It's a geographical anomaly. Whoa. But let me tell you, it's really, really awesome. If you like the paranormal, you can go there and investigate. If you love history, you can go there and learn all the awesome history. Not only that, but Sharon will have an event at the end of the month with the Booth brothers, who make movies and shows that air on Chiller and Sci-Fi. It's going to rock your world. Go to www.therollinghillsasylum.com. Get your tickets today for a captive hunt, for a public hunt, or if you want to meet the Booth brothers, go meet the Booth brothers at the end of the month. That's www.rollinghillsasylum.com. Excuse me. Also, I'm not a big fan of psychics, but Jackie Bowling is an amazing psychic. She doesn't ask you questions. She tells you what she's getting from the other side. Go to www.dtmwickedradio.com. Click on the sponsor page, scroll down, and click on Jackie Bowling, Clairvoyant Psychic Medium. Get a reading from her. She does cleansings as well. She's so amazing. It's one of those experiences that you'll just never forget. So go to www.dtmwickedradio.com, click on the sponsor page, scroll down, and click on Jackie Bowling's banner. You won't regret it. Also, if you have kiddies from zero to 5, there's a new book out called Billy Rabbit's Halloween Adventure. And I'm super, super proud of this book, because not only is it a cute book for children, and it's just around Halloween, it's also written by my husband. And so I'm a proud wifey. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it on Barnes & Noble, you can get it on Kindle. That is Billy Rabbit's Halloween Adventure. So, excuse me, without further ado, I'm going to bring on my very first guest. She was on Family Ties, but now she has a thriller, a horror movie coming out, and I'm so excited. Her name is Tracy Birdsell. Hi, Miss Birdsell.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm well. I apologize if my voice goes in and out.
I'm so sorry about that.
You know what? It's okay. Some people will applaud it when I can't talk at all. I promise you that. There'll be applause everywhere. You'll hear it around the world. Can you tell us about your movie?
Oh yes, about Dawn of the Crescent Moon. I sure can.
Yes.
It's a horror thriller classic, I would call it. It's kind of like the old slasher fix of old, kind of like Hellraiser, something like that, where they're out searching for the legends of Blood Lake, and lots of people are dying, and I play opposite Barry Corbin, and we're basically weaving this story together for the viewers, and it's just, I don't know, I thought it was an awful lot of fun. I've only done 2 horror films, so.
But that's a big stretch from Family Ties.
It's a big stretch from everything I've done. I'm like across all genres. Yeah.
Is horror something you really love to do? Like, is that one of your, because, I mean, being an actor, it must be really cool to jump into something that is completely opposite of anything you would ever do.
You know, I love doing things that are opposites, and I love doing them back to back. I actually shot this back to back with a comedy that I did, a really outrageous comedy. And so I kind of like that feeling of going from one to the other. And right now I'm getting ready to go into a science fiction movie and then flip into a comedy after that. Those are my next two movies. So I like the fact that I get considered for roles across all the different genres. I think it's fantastic.
Do you ever get whiplash with all the mood swings you have by your characters?
I feel like I carry parts of those people around with me, and I feel like sometimes you don't know exactly how to think or how to react, but I think it's all really amazing.
When you're on the comedy set, do you ever threaten, don't bring out my inner serial killer? Because I still have her with me.
It's so funny because my daughter was making a joke because I always talk about how I carry these around. I was interviewed once and somebody said, I can just picture you carrying all these personalities around with you on down the streets of New York, and I just thought that was the funniest comment. But it's true because we all have all these little things inside of us, especially as actors, where we actually experience what it felt like to be those people, and then we keep that with us, so it makes for an interesting life. I think we're well-rounded individuals.
You know what, I have to agree with you. I'm so sorry. I was talking to Mike Shabrasi, who is the producer at Deftone Pictures, and they actually will be doing a Grim Becoming. It's going to be premiering at Halloween, and we were discussing, because he plays Death, but he's also played, he's a character actor, so he's also played many other characters. And I said, you know, Mike, I said, it's kind of funny. I go, when I see you laughing, sometimes I wonder if that's a maniacal laugh or if that's a happy laugh or what personality you are today.
Exactly. And I've never done science fiction before, so now I'm going into that, and it's a really, really badass role, I have to tell you. But it's so completely different than anything I've ever done, and I'm running out of completely different things that I could do, so it's kind of fun to add to the list.
Now, how soon will your sci-fi picture come out?
Well, we start shooting that November 1st, so it's called Descent of the Maelstrom, and I'm helping produce that one, too, with Neil Johnson, he's a science fiction director. And so I'm excited to get on the production end of it again. And then I start shooting my next one in March or April, and that's a comedy, and it's called Who's Jenna Jameson? And I play the lead role in that. But it is a comedy.
But do you keep your clothes on? That's my question, because we all know who Jenna Jameson is.
I do.
No, it would be funny if you did a porn as Jenna, if you did like a horror comedy as Jenna Jameson. How funny would that be? Oh my gosh!
Right?
You could do the whole incubus succubus thing, and that could be really fun.
Oh my God! What a funny thought!
There's your next screenplay. Just put me in the title. Thank you, Tiffani-Beth, for this phenomenal idea.
Well, you know, when I got the script, I looked at it, I'm reading the script called Who's Jenna Jameson? I'm reading for the role of Jenna. I mean, I didn't audition for it. It was sent to me. And I'm like, really? That's the title of this movie? So I kind of went into it a little hesitant, but it's super, super funny comedy. So.
We'll have to have you back when that comes out. Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. Now,
it is. It's awesome.
For this horror movie coming out, can you give our listeners a little more of an idea, like, what's the premise? What was it like to film this movie? And, you know, is it really, really scary, or is it really gory, or is it like both? You know,
it gets you on the thriller aspect. It's not as gory as one would think, but it's pretty scary. And a lot of it isn't CGI. You know, it's kind of the old-style horror movie, which is kind of exciting to work on. I mean, we shot in a town called Fayetteville, Texas. It's only a town of 264 people out in the middle of nowhere. And we shot into the night a lot, and a lot of it, of course, is after dark. And you know, they have the kids by the fireside going through their stories. So it has a mystical aspect of it, where they're kind of facing parts of their own selves while they're going through figuring out the legend. So it's a really nice story, a really nice plot throughout. But you know, at the end, of course, it gets a little gory, and they have these creatures called the Guardians, and they're these huge robed, you know, hooks on their paws. You know, I mean, it's really kind of fascinating when they go after somebody. They die pretty quickly.
Oh wow, that sounds crazy. Now, can I ask? And you can tell me to mind my own business, but is your character kind of the heroic type? Like, is she the heroine?
No, my character actually, I have a partner in this. Alan Petruski plays Will. And we're going into the bar, which later leads the story opposite Barry Corbin, which plays Cyrus. We're going in there, and we're asking a lot of questions, but the reason we're asking questions is because the legend also has a treasure associated with it. So we're actually not in there from an innocent perspective ourselves, but he catches on to us, you know, and that's kind of a twist at the end.
Oh, so you're kind of a bad guy in a way.
Yeah, we're kind of city folk that are kind of trying to pull one over on them at the same time, you know?
Oh, so that'll be... Now, if we know what happens to those people in other horror movies, so it'll be very interesting to watch this movie.
Oh, yeah, it's a great movie. It was really a lot of fun. I just wish I got to die in it. I never get to die in anything.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say, I just wish I could die.
I was in the Prophets Game. I don't know if you remember that one. It was a horror film. That was my other horror film, and with Dennis Hopper and some great names. And I think, like one of the very few people who didn't get to die, you know. And it's like really, but I do get to die in one of the movies coming up. I'll tell you that. I won't tell you which one, but I tell you I do get to die, and that's why I'm so excited about it.
Okay, we'll have to wait for it to come out. But I think you're just so funny. I'm just sitting here picturing, oh, I get to live through this one again. God, why do I always have to live? Whatever. I'll just stand
we all
here
get our lots in life, right?
I know. See, I think it would be funny because I'm always the good person in life. Like I'm always trying to do the right thing, and you know, I'd never hurt a fly. I'm a total animal lover. Like I couldn't do an animal, but like just sometime I want to be in a movie where I get to kill somebody and be like maniacal and evil about it. Like that would be the best day ever. Of course, my husband's like, perhaps we should sleep in separate bedrooms.
Exactly. And I actually have that opportunity coming up, and I'm very excited about it. So.
That's awesome because you step outside of yourself. You're really your complete opposite. But yet, you know, I think we all have that little inside serial killer that's just dying to come out. Not like in reality, but in some way, shape, or form, just to kind of, you know, give it that release.
And you know, that's what's fun about being an actress, and I've been an actress so long. It's just as we get to kind of live through all the little aspects of our personalities by taking on these roles, because we actually go live them. Mm-hmm. And so we get to experience all these things that other people wish that they got to do, and it really is pretty amazing.
It sounds like so much fun. Now, was it fun to film the movie?
It was really fun as well, working opposite Barry Corbin. I mean, the guy's just an absolute living legend, and just an absolute blast. We're really good friends now. And all the people that we were working with, I was friends with the director and producer before they started the project, which is why they asked me to be in it. And so it was just an absolute blast. And they left the bar open until late because we were shooting in Joe's place. And Joe's just like this amazing guy. And so it was really just a lot of fun, a lot of you know, very familiar people in a very family-like environment because we were all staying in the bed and breakfast right there in town. So we all just got to be very close and got to know each other. It was great.
That's so awesome. That is so awesome. Oh my gosh. Now, is there a place where people can go and see the trailer and look at a website?
There sure is. You can go. They have a website. They have Dawn of the Crescent Moon on Facebook, and then they also have, I believe it's dawnofthecrescentmoon.com.
Under the
Crescent Moon. I'm going to look it up real quick.
Love technology. You can do 10 things at once.
I know.
If it works.
I know. Okay. Because it works, and it's so easy, isn't it?
When it works.
Mm-hmm. There it is. And we go to About. Everybody knows where I'm on right now. Yep, dawnofthecrescentmoon.com.
Excellent. And when will the movie be premiering?
Well, we already had our premiere, and I know that they're doing something right around Halloween. They're not giving me all the information because I do so many interviews. But it'll be out really, really, really soon. So it's a very exciting project to be a part of. I think it's going to be one of those ones that plays every Halloween.
That's awesome. It sounds like a cult classic right off the bat to me.
Yeah, that's how the first review went, so I was really happy about that.
You know, and that used to be a bad thing. Now it's like that's what people want. Like, it's okay if it doesn't like hit mainstream. It's the cult classic because you look at Rock Horror Picture Show, you know, and they wanted that to hit mainstream and be big, but it took a while. But man, it's a legend. It's an iconic Halloween movie. You can't go through the month of October without watching it. I mean, they have so many stage productions that are, you know, attributed to it. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing now. Everybody wants that cult classic that everybody can't live without.
Well, because it's so familiar, too.
It is. It's comforting. You know what's weird is even though movies like that are kind of disturbing, and yet it's still comforting because you fit somewhere within that genre.
It's so true. It's so true. I completely agree with you.
I think that's what's awesome about it. Well, I know you have to go. I want to thank you so much, Miss Birdsell, for coming on the Wicked Edge. You have an open door anytime. I'm actually been a fan of yours for a very long time. And it's been an honor, and like, I'm trying really hard not to fan out, and thank you so much.
Aww.
Yeah,
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. You have an open door on the Wicked Edge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a great day.
You too. Everybody, this is Tracy Birdsell. Please make sure to check out her movie, Under the Crescent Moon, coming out very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, now we have another wonderful guest. He's been waiting so graciously and so patiently. Sean, are you still with us?
I am still here.
Yes. You're the man, Sean.
Thank you so much. Hey, it's great listening to the interview. It's great.
Thank you. I sound a lot. I know, doesn't it sound like a fun film? Like, I like to be scared. I don't like to be grossed out. So
yeah.
So it's awesome when you can find a movie that'll like make you jump out of your skin, but not make you hurl next to your neighbor.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have Sean here. Sean, can you tell us about what your movie's about and where it came from?
Sure, yeah. The title of the film is The Wolves of Savin Hill. Savin Hill is an area in Boston, and it's the story. It's a crime, thriller, horror. I think it falls within the three genres, and it's a story of two men who, well, they're trying to come to terms with something they discovered and experienced in their kids, and they're adults now, and one has lured the other to him. They share this terrible secret, and they have to confront it, and that's the basic story. But it's a very dark and strange. It's sort of in some ways about being in the unfamiliar. Being lured to a place where where you're not safe, and that's one has lured the other to a place, and they have to deal with this. It's the death of a. There's a little bit of a Red Riding Hood theme to it. There's a girl who's died when they're kids, and one of them is responsible, and I won't tell you who, and that's it. And it's they have to uncover this myth, and face the reality. One of them is a murderer, but they're both damaged from the experience, and that's the story. That's the essential. That's the spine of the story. It's this confrontation of these two men.
Now, what part do you play in the movie?
Well, I'm actually the producer. Luckily enough, I didn't have to play any parts because, we had some fantastic actors, and I was, I've worked on a lot of films, and I've produced and directed films, and I've had to play something in almost every film I've made, and this one I was luckily not having to. So we've got a great cast. We got Brian Scannell from Gone Baby Gone. We got Jack McGee from The Fighter, and Kurt Fuller from the Woody Allen film Midnight in Paris. I mean, we got some great actors who came in and did some really nice work, and we got Michael Massey who plays the villain in Seven, and
nice.
David Cooley, great actor, voiceover actor from out here, wonderful actors, and so I didn't have to do much, but produce, which is nice.
Well, that's good. That's what I wanted people to know, because sometimes people, when I ask that thing, they'll be like, I don't know what you mean, but I'm glad you answered that, because I knew you're the producer, but I wanted you to say it for yourself, because a lot of people will assume you're an actor.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Now, do you, so would you rather not play a part? Would you rather just stay behind the scenes? Or is it fun to kind of, like we talked about with Tracy, get your hands dirty and kind of be a little bit of something you're not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to jump in when I have to, but I'd much rather not. I mean, look, it's when you're making films, I work with the director, John Hill, very closely, and he's very talented, and he's a great writer and a really, really fine director, and, he played a part in the scene, and he's actually a good actor, and he had to step in, but he's actually really good. I don't think I'm that good. I can do it when I have to, but I was much happier being on set and playing the role of a producer and getting to, it was a very intimate set the whole way, and so we were very, real right there and watching these guys perform. and a really emotional story that's got lots of layers to it. It was a really nice experience, to be with these guys and to watch them perform. I am not an actor. I'm not an actor.
So even though it's like a horror, thriller, drama type thing, what do you want people to walk away from with this movie? Do you want them to be scared? Do you want them to leave thinking deep thoughts? Like, what do you want them to leave with this movie?
I want them to leave with questions, I suppose. When we watched the film, we played at the San Diego Film Festival. John won an award for the first-time filmmaker, Chris Bimber Award. It was really nice, and the first time seeing it on a big screen like that, it was just a really nice, when you make a film, you're watching it for so long in the editing room, and then when you get to finally, produce it on a big screen in the theater, it was just a nice experience. And my experience was, when it came out, I was not asking questions, not in any negative way, but I was left with a lot of questions about these men and the way they lived their lives. And there's a revelation at the end of this film that it's a creepy film. It's got plenty of horror elements. Believe me, it's very creepy. But the way I like to think about it, the way we talked about it, is it's not a supernatural thriller. It's feasible what happens in this story, and it's a very dark and strange experience these kids have as kids. And when you're adults, it's like it's an event that they couldn't run away from. They could only evade for so long. It finally caught up with them. It's a film about memory, and it's a film about guilt, and it's about blame, and it's about the things we do as kids, and when these two guys, but when the one character is lured out to confront this other character, one of them has really gone over the edge, and it's a film about murder. It's a film about, like I said in the beginning, of being in the unfamiliar and being in a place where you cannot protect yourself, and that's what I wanted audiences to feel, and I think we pulled that off. To me, there's an element in the story there's a sense of foreboding, and there's a sense of a lack of safety. He's in a strange place where he cannot, he can protect himself, and there's the horror is in that too, and there are some people you cannot fix. It sounds like a tagline for the film, but that's essentially what it's about. There are just some people who will not be fixed and will not be changed, from what they essentially are, And if the person is a sociopath, then you're not, the best you can do is to either get away from that person or got to defend yourself. And that's the story.
The way you're describing this movie, I'm falling in love with it just by the way you're describing it, because it doesn't sound like your typical horror movie. It makes you, or your thriller movie. It sounds like you go in and it draws you in, because you're giving people kind of like a scenario of what if this were to happen, and what I love about movies is when I can put myself in it and kind of relate to it in a way, and then. Sure. The real horror is like what you just described. There's some people you cannot fix. And reality, that's a real horror. Mm-hmm. So that makes the movie all that much more, because you're giving people a real piece of thought, food for thought, going, you know what, this could happen in real life. And that's scarier than fiction.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I agree. There's a sense of who's who in this film, and what am I looking at here? What is this guy disguising himself as? It's called The Wolves of Savin Hill because we had a title, The Company of Wolves. There's a Red Riding Hood theme to the story, and there's the question is in the old Red Riding Hood story, one is the hunter and the other is the wolf, but in this story, it's hard to tell the difference. And that puts you in a kind of a dark place, to try to make sense of this before before you get in the darker woods, so to speak, and it's just a lot of shadows and strange. We filmed in some great locations here, and we kept the strange quality of the story. We really kept that in the foreground. It's a dark and rainy bleak winter day when this event takes place, that they, as kids, and it's the dark streets of Los Angeles at night where the rest of the story goes down, and so they've always been, in some ways the setting is a state of mind. The setting is a state of mind, and that's what we're trying to kind of convey. John was very big on that. Atmospherically trying to create something that felt. You feel the psychology of these characters, and that's what we were really going for. John's he taught me so much, and John Beaton-Hill, the director, and sitting, and I edited the film, and sitting together, and I'm a big Cassavetes fan, and so is John, and we went back to the French, the gangster films, because in some ways this is also a gangster story. They both become deviant, these two men. And so you got a kind of live and die in L.A. kind of story combined with a little French connection, Point Blank. I don't know if you remember that film, Point Blank, from 1967. The character Lee Marvin, who's on this weird quest. He's supposedly murdered up in Alcatraz, and he wakes up in the jail cell, and you're never sure if this guy's alive or not. And he's on this quest in Los Angeles to find the person who killed him. And that's kind of the psychology of that, the audience asking the question, is this guy alive? Is this some kind of a dream? Is this really going down? We wanted a lot of that stuff, and we reached back and found some great influences. And, it was just a fun film to make with all these, sitting and watching films and being inspired and finding, and then, of course, working with these actors. My God, it's just a great experience to see. I've done a lot of independent films, and to work on a film with very talented actors, it makes all the difference. You really see, wow, performance. I'm watching the film, and I'm believing these people, and that's all we really wanted,
Absolutely. And it sounds like you created the perfect movie with the perfect cast. Because it sounds like, along with the actors and the script and the movie, you're going to plant seeds in your audience's head, and that's exactly the perfect way to do a movie, is to plant a seed, because their imagination will do the rest. And then with your cast, who's not going to be starstruck?
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, exactly. That's the key. I think when you get an actor, you recognize if they're good. They're all good, and so they disappear in the roles, and I'm believing when I see them. And that's the beauty. Paul Karafotis, also a great actor from. He's been in all kinds of stuff, and he just brought something to that film that was fantastic. They all did. Everybody showed up and brought Tanya Cornelisi, who's Nicole Haddad, these great actresses who showed up. They're all working out here in LA. They're all moving fast, and we were lucky to have them on this film. Suzanne Willard did a great part. We had some really great actresses on this film.
That's awesome.
Megan Davis.
That's so awesome. Now,
names that in some ways you might not hear it. You'll be hearing them in a few years, I believe, because these girls are really moving heaven.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. It's nice to watch up-and-coming actors, because a few years later, I remember seeing them in that movie. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. We got Jason Oliver from Stand By Me. He came in and played this homeless person. He was fantastic.
That's awesome.
You're out in a strange city, and you don't know anybody, and your only friend is a homeless guy who's lost his marbles. And Jason Oliver played this guy beautifully. And that's what we wanted. We wanted this character to be, he's from Boston, and he's out in L.A., and he's alone, and he's trapped, and he's on the streets of L.A., and the only guy he knows is this lunatic, army vet who's bringing him in the wrong places, and that's part of the horror of the film, too. Like I said, it's a feasible story. You could be trapped in these places with these strange people and not be able to get out of it.
It sounds like you have, like you said, you had many layers, and it does have many layers, because it sounds like you have a story underneath your story that will eventually all come together. It may not make sense completely, but it will all come together.
Yeah. There are twists and turns. John's a good writer. It's an emotional story with a lot of, things you wouldn't expect, and that's what we wanted.
That's so awesome.
The horror. It's funny. I didn't realize when I called in your show. It's funny because we were debating whether to label this a horror or a crime or a thriller, and we came up with a horror thriller. It's usually what we refer to it as. It's got a horror element that's very, like I say, You go back to these old films, Lipstick and films. I don't know if you remember the film from like 1980. It's an old film, but it's a story that actually could happen. When I love these stories where you're experiencing something that actually could happen in your neighborhood. And it's a Stephen King kind of thing.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I don't know if it would happen, so to speak. I mean, let's take It for example. Like, there might be a killer clown. I don't think it'll be like It, but you take John Wayne Gacy, there you go. I mean, anything is feasible. And the thing is you plant that seed in your audience's head, and their imagination will do the rest. But at the same token, you're also feeding that seed like, this is totally plausible. This can totally happen. And then, like, you take Outbreak. We have Ebola now. So
I know, you're right. Talk about making somebody uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? That film Outbreak was like 20 years behind its time, in a year or two they're going to be making these films because of the Ebola thing, right? Absolutely.
Well, I mean, it's so funny that you mentioned the whole, in a few years, it may happen. I'm like, hey, that's Outbreak. It's one of those things that's completely feasible and can happen, and you're thinking it could, but it probably won't. And now it's like, hey, Ebola's in the United States. Oh, well, then there we go.
Look for the re-release on DVD, right? I would be surprised if they start advertising that film again.
Actually, I think it's going to be on one of the primary stations.
Yeah. Right?
It's like, way to go, entertainment, way to go.
I know. Well, what's funny? When we were making this, we talked a lot about our audience, and that's something I think independent filmmakers learn over a period of time. You really have to think in terms of your audience. You have a relationship with them. You have an obligation to them, and it made it so much more fun as we talked about what we might do to thrill the audience or to bring them on this journey. Rather than hey, where do they get a load of us? It was more a question of how can we bring the audience into our world with us? How can we make this a partnership, an experience? And to make them uncomfortable, I think, to bring discomfort to an audience and to relieve them in some ways at the end, I think is the goal. Any good film like this.
Like I said, I don't like to be grossed out. I was an EMT. I saw enough. I don't like to be grossed out, but I want to leave a theater looking in my backseat. I want to go home and turn all the lights on in my house because you never know what's lurking in those shadows. And that's what I like. And, hey, from a romantic point of view, you got a partner, you're going to need protection, I mean, it could work to your advantage.
Sure, that's right, you're right. That's right.
Horror, making babies since 1902.
Love the horror films.
I do, but Halloween will always be my very, very favorite horror movie, and The Exorcist as well. So it's the scary. I like to be scared, but you know what? It's scarier than fiction, reality. And when you give people a bite of reality that could really become something true the next day, it's a lot scarier than giving yourself, a monster from the Blue Lagoon.
Yeah, I get it. With Halloween too, you get this sense that the kids are paying for the crimes of the parents, which is also feasible. That's something that people identify with. They get it.
Yeah. Well, it happens.
All these what's that?
It happens. All you got to do is turn on HLN or whatever, and boom, there it is. Maybe not exactly like Halloween, but it's there. It is.
Yeah.
So I mean, you guys are just saying, well, let me give you another scenario that could be completely reality.
Yeah, and in our film, the family is dealing with this confrontation between these two guys, and the family is paying the price literally and figuratively. The family is the one that's in the crisis because of this. Right. These two guys coming together. It's not going to result in just their It's not just their conflict. Everybody gets sucked into this, and
well, and I think that's great because it actually, I think, works towards your advantage when a group of people go see your movie, because then it kind of makes them feel like they're all in something together. They're all scared together, like that family. So I think it's great. I can't. Now, when will this be out? Is it out?
Well, the film, we're bringing it to festivals still, and we're going to, we're discussing, when we're going to release it, probably in the winter. We've gotten a few offers already. But we're kind of, we love the festival scene, and we want to do a couple more. We want to get it some publicity in that way. We were told at the San Diego Film Festival that we were the most talked about project at the festival, and a really nice moment for us to project the person projecting the films told us it was the best film he'd seen at the festival, which is really nice for us to hear. We're really happy about that. So we got a little bit of a buzz down there, and that was really nice, and we're hoping to experience that again, and we're going to release it. We have a few more things we want to do with it. We're never done, we always look at them as we're talking afterwards, like, maybe we can take a couple of frames out of this, it's just the little things that we want to do. But we're ready to set it off, and we'll probably release it sometime around January, February. That's the plan.
And that's the perfect time to release movies because everybody thinks that nothing good comes out between like January and March, and that's not true.
Right.
That's not true.
Right.
And so I think people hold off on releasing movies then, and I think it's stupid because that's the best time to do it. We're cold, we're miserable, we want something to do, we want a good movie to watch, and there you go, at least out here on the East Coast.
Yeah, totally. And we're also taking the advice of people who know, and with this stuff, marketing people, and so this is right now a discussion.
Absolutely.
And as these festivals go, it's gonna help us. I think I'm very proud of the film, and I was amazed by it when we sat and watched it. Not just it's just a nice experience to I made some independent films myself, and I always say, it's like when you're working with actors who aren't very talented, they're okay, but I wasn't really searching out big talent. It's like trying to playing the NBA with a bunch of guys who are 4'9", and they may be good basketball players, but you're not going to make it to the NBA. And so when you get these kinds of actors, it changes the entire chemistry of the film. Everything changes when you get people like this. It's my experience. I thought it was just great. It may sound kind of silly. Independent filmmakers should know this, though. It's all in the performance. If you've got a good story and you can get good performances, you're in a good place, man.
Absolutely, 100%. It's so funny that you're talking about that because as you're telling me, there's some actors that aren't that great, and it's like having 4'9" people in the NBA. You're not going to make it there. I'd be like, well, you're going to die really soon. As a matter of fact, there's going to be a lot of death in this movie.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You get this person, you go, okay, well, he's going to die in the film or on the editing floor.
That's true, and like if somebody really annoyed me, I'd be like, and you're going to die a very horrible death.
Very cool. Totally. But horror films is funny. You can make a horror film with people without names, I guess. But you still have to get good performances out of people, and I think you have to really learn how to talk to them as actors, and I think you can make people better. And I think actors make each other better.
Absolutely.
There were actors on our film who came in and were better when they were working with bigger talent. They got better. I noticed it.
I agree. I think if people share some of their secrets and even kind of like mentor others, it's paying it forward. Everybody gets better, and that's what everybody needs. And that's what makes the entertainment world go round.
It does, and the bigger the actor seemed for me, paradoxically, the more generous and sweet they were and easy to work with.
Yes.
Crazy, right?
Well,
they were just very nice, all of them. They're really, really cool, and asking us, what about this? Should I try it this way? Try it this way? I mean, that's just great stuff,
That's awesome. That is so awesome. I mean, on the radio, I've noticed that too. Like, I've gotten to talk to some really big names, and like, the more they've been in the industry and the bigger they are, the humbler they are, and it warms your heart, and it's like, awesome, thank you for being a real person. I love you so much more.
Oh yeah, Kurt Fuller. You've seen him in if you've seen him in a bunch of stuff, and he was just the best.
Yes.
Nicest guy,
That's
amazing actor.
That's so awesome. I hope to have him on my show sometime. I'm so glad you came on my show. This has been so much fun.
No, it's been great. Thank you.
I just want to let you know, like, when you guys are ready to release a trailer and stuff, any way we can help push for this movie, any way we can help advertise, please let us know. I would love to. And I'd love to put the trailer on the DTM Wicked page.
Sure. Yep. And we'll come back anytime. Yeah, I can give you the website information now. The trailer's on the website.
Please do.
Yeah, the website is you probably have to enter the entire thing, http:// of course www.wolvesofsevenhill.wix WIX as in Xavier WIX.com. It's not the Wolves of Seven Hill. The website is entitled Wolves of Seven Hill, and it should come right up.
Awesome.
And we've got everything on there, bios, all kinds of information. You can contact us. We've got a trailer on there. Got all the publicity. So it's a nice website.
Awesome. You are so awesome, and you have an open door on the Wicked Edge anytime.
Oh, thank you. You're a great interviewer. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, and we'll make sure to put that link up on our website.
Okay.
And anything you guys need, you've got it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Sean, I just want to thank you again for coming on. Thank you so much for telling about your movie, and I can't wait to see it, and you've been awesome. Again, you have an open door. You're amazing.
Cool. Thanks again. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye, honey.
Yeah, bye.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening to The Wicked Edge. Don't forget to stay tuned to Paranormal Circus, and then Alpha Star Radio, and then Vision Quest. Also, don't forget to tune in tomorrow night to I Heart Chavo at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Everybody have a great night. Remember, spread love, not hate. Later.